This is the last video for the breathing topic for Year 10. Over this topic we've looked at the process of breathing. So this is the physical movement of our lungs, and we've also talked about something called respiration, aerobic respiration. So it's really useful to finish off looking at a comparison of these two processes, breathing and respiration. I'm going to use our double bubble method where we put the similarities that they have in the middle and join them up to each of the breathing and respiration, and the differences on the outside that relate to either breathing or respiration. Let's have a little think about what possible similarities and differences there are. So I'm going to write breathing first of all. When you do your double bubbles, write the word first and then draw the box, otherwise you don't know how big to draw the box. And then respiration. Now, if you're doing this from scratch, it's really useful to go over all of your work and look at it section by section and try to pick out ideas. So I'm just going to do this very quickly. Now, I was having to think about it. When we first think about breathing, we think about probably the structures involved, which are the lungs. Lungs aren't involved in respiration, but we have to think, well, where does respiration happen? Respiration is actually a process that happens in cells. If we think about breathing, well, we've got the lungs, but where does the air come into first of all? Well, it comes in through our nose and mouth and into our trachea. I'm going to write that one there because that's involved. We could put nose and mouth as well, that would be okay. And we go down the trachea to the, we could say the bronchi, more tubes. I might label them, I might write the bronchioles as well, which are the small tubes. And the bronchioles then lead onto the air sacs or the alveoli. These are all to do with breathing. Once you get to the alveoli, we have a process of gas exchange happening, where we've got carbon dioxide moving into the alveolus and oxygen moving out of the alveolus. We could also say that in breathing, the diaphragm is involved. And that's because the diaphragm is our sheet of muscle that moves up and down, or it goes from a dome shaped to a flat shape, and it causes pressure differences between inside the lungs and the chest and outside that cause the lungs to inflate and deflate. So I might write, I'm going to write inhale, which is breathe in, and exhale, which is breathe out, as keywords there as well. Notice I'm not writing loads of, I'm not doing an essay around here, I'm just writing some key words and key phrases to remind me. Well, let's think about respiration then. Well, we know it happens in cells, and well, we've talked about one type of respiration, which is aerobic. We can then say, well, what does aerobic respiration use? Well, it uses oxygen. We could say and glucose. And what does it make? Well, it makes carbon dioxide, and water. What's the point of it? Well, the point of it is to release energy for lots of processes to happen. We could say, where in the cells does it happen? Can you remember where it happens in the cells? In the mitochondria. And in the cells of what does it happen? Well, you may remember that it happens in all living things. So we're talking about even things like plants, fungi, like mushrooms, bacteria. If it's alive, it respires. Because respiration is to make or to release energy, which all the processes in living things need. So then we come to the things that are the same about them. Having drawn it out like this, we can see they're very different. The problem is we tend to use this word respiration in everyday language when we actually mean breathing in and out, inhaling and exhaling. Respiration is only in cells. That's so important. So what are they both to do with? Well, we could say that they both happen in the body. Yeah, they definitely happen in the body. We could say that they are both processes, like biological processes. It's a bit vague, but that'll do. And then, if we're saying that all living things carry out respiration, well, what are the living things that breathe? Well, plants certainly don't breathe. They do respire. Fungi don't breathe, but they respire. Bacteria don't breathe, but they respire. So, what organisms both breathe and respire? Well, we could say animals. Remember, animals is the animal kingdom, so we're talking about mammals, birds, amphibians, reptiles and fish. They are all animals in the animal kingdom, so they all breathe. Obviously we've got fish that have gills, and we've got reptiles that have lungs, and amphibians do take in oxygen through their skin as well as in their lungs, and mammals and birds use lungs. So that's just a little aside. So if we were to just summarise a comparison of two very different processes, we've got very few similarities. They are biological processes that happen in the body of animals. That's all that is the same. Breathing, well, this is anything to do with the lungs and that system. The problem is that the name we give to the system is the respiratory system, which is annoying because it's not respiration. I'll write this here. So all of that is to do with the respiratory system. The lungs, the trachea, the bronchi, the bronchioles, the alveoli. The gas exchange that happens in the alveoli, the diaphragm going from dome shape to flat shape, causing pressure differences, causing air to come in and air to go out. Respiration, the most important thing to remember for respiration is this, that it happens in cells. That's the most important thing. If you don't remember anything else, please remember that respiration is nothing to do with the lungs. So the lungs is over there. Respiration happens in cells. Where in cells? Well, in the mitochondria. What type of respiration happens in mitochondria? Aerobic. What does aerobic respiration use? Well, it uses oxygen gas, and it also uses glucose from food. What does aerobic respiration make? It makes carbon dioxide gas and water. What's the point of aerobic respiration? To release energy. And in which cells does respiration happen? Well, respiration happens in all living things. Plants are living things. Hopefully by doing that you can see that they are two very different processes. Breathing is not the same as respiration. Hopefully you found this useful. Look back at the other videos if you need a refresher. And that's the end of the breathing videos for Year 7.